Alright, welcome guys. Cracker Barrel. Who thought I'd make a video on Cracker Barrel? But anyway, the co-founder has absolutely ripped apart the new CEO of Cracker Barrel because, of course, they've had like a lot of issues lately. They did their logo change. Not sure why. Maybe it was hate marketing. I don't know. But these things never work out massively well. It always seems like a really dumb thing to do. But they changed their logo. And then they ended up removing DEI and pride stuff from their website, which, yeah, sure, that's fine. That's good. You make food. No one cares, about anything else, quite frankly. Your opinion on anything. Just make the goddamn food, and that's it. That's all you need to do. It's really... In fact, it's less work. It's easier work and it's less work. Just make your food. Stop all the other nonsense. But anyway, so they've had a large... swathe of nonsense in the headlines, and now the co-founder is ripping the CEO, just ripping him apart in an interview. And this is, of course, the 93-year-old Tommy Lowe, who co-founded Cracker Barrel, and just absolutely rips the new CEO apart and just says, what's Taco Bell know about country food? Because, of course, this individual, the new CEO, did come from Taco Bell, right? Now, what does Taco Bell know about country food? Probably not a lot, but, as a CEO, that's not really your job. So it's not really the main point, I guess. But his other points are completely justified. And also as well, it's just funny, him aiming at the CEO, quite frankly. I'm not having a go at him, obviously, but the CEO's not going to, they're not doing anything specific with the food directly, are they? Although they also can lose the spirit of it, I guess, which is his main point. So, I do take it on board. But let's take a look at this because it is hilarious. So, as this article notes, Cracker Barrel has been in the headlines for weeks. First over a botched logo redesign. Just bizarre. Just stop doing stuff. Stop doing stuff like that anyway. Then for quietly removing DEI and pride content from its website. Now the Cracker Barrel co-founder is speaking out. And he isn't pulling any punches. In a blistering interview, 93-year-old Tommy Lowe slammed the redesign, blasted the company's direction, and even took a direct shot at current CEO Julie Fells Massino's background as a Taco Bell executive. And here's the key point that he come out with. He just said, look, what's Taco Bell know about Cracker Barrel and country food? Lowe asked pointedly, questioning whether Massino truly understands the culture and traditions that built Cracker Barrel into a southern staple. And said Lowe, who founded the first Cracker Barrel with Dan Evans in 1969, didn't hold back. He described the redesigned logo, stripped of its classic Uncle Herschel character, as a bland nothing and pitiful. He warned that if the chain drifts from its roots, it ain't gonna work. And the key point is keep it country or lose it all, which is true. When you have something which is effectively like a quintessential embodiment of a certain thing, right, or it's representative of a certain thing, i.e., like Cracker Barrel representative of country food, right? Let's just look at that because we're talking about it anyway. And you begin to drift away from it and you basically lose the identity of what people are drawn to with respect to the chain itself. And I've said this before, and it's actually quite a good crossover when it comes to movies. So when it comes to movies, if you were to hire a black trans lesbian to play Wolverine, for instance, it's not Wolverine, right? Even though there hasn't been black trans lesbian Wolverines, but just say for argument's sake, there has been. That isn't Wolverine still, even though there may have been a version of it. Like Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man because there are things which are the quintessential representation of the chain, the character, whatever, even though there are different versions of it. And the further you get away from the quintessential version, the thing which is in the zeitgeist, the thing that people like the most, they're just going to check out. You drift away from that, you drift away from your customer base. And this is basically what he's saying, and I think it works. I think it makes perfect sense. So the logo unveiled earlier this month was meant to modernize the brand. Doesn't really need modernising, but okay. Instead, it sparked a wave of backlash. Within days, Cracker Barrel abandoned the redesign, reinstating the original logo, admitting it could have done a better job. And then explaining its reasoning. or better job at explaining its reasoning. So, but Lowe's concern wasn't just about graphics. His sharp comments about Messino highlighted a deeper worry. The corporate leadership no longer understands what Cracker Barrel's customer base values. So the fiasco began when Cracker Barrel revealed a simplified text-only logo that looked more like an upscale cafe than a country store. And this is just boring. Like, there's no charm here, is there? It doesn't even look like a barrel, quite frankly. Right? Like, that it could just be a belt buckle. There could be a multitude of things. It's just bizarre. So the company's stock immediately reflected the outrage, shedding close to $100 million in market value before rebounding slightly after the about face. So even Donald Trump joined the backlash, praising the company when it restored its traditional branding. All of your fans very much appreciate it. Make your customers happy again. Quite funny. And then, culture wars at the barrel, basically. The 90s, Cracker Barrel drew criticism for internal policies. By the 2000s, it was pursuing activist approval. Not overly sure, but why, but okay. And then Cracker Barrel found itself in hot water after promoting rainbow-coloured rocking chairs during Pride Month. Why would you do this? It's just weird. Just make food and shut up about everything else. Just make food and shut up about everything else. The campaign triggered widespread boycotts, online backlash, particularly in conservative areas where Cracker Barrel has long thrived, which, way to completely distance your own base. And also just not understand your own base. Like, so bizarre. So the fallout was severe, as with Bud Light and Target. The attempt to chase activist accolades ended up alienating core customers. So in 2025, the company quietly walked back some of those initiatives. Observers noted that Cracker Barrel had deleted its DEI webpage and removed Pride-centric content from its website. There was no press release or big announcement. Just a quiet scrub that signaled leadership recognized the backlash and wanted to move on. Sure, that's fine. But, this Lowe character, he's the co-founder of Cracker Barrel. So when he comes out and speaks, it's super important. That matters. People are going to listen to that. So, he said, it looks good, but just keep it country. Lowe recalled a musician telling him in the restaurant's early days. That's what people want. That's what he's saying. And he just sung out Messino's Taco Bell resume and was just like, what are you doing, mate? You're a clown. Keep it country, he said, or it ain't going to work. You're going to lose it all. And that's true, right? Like, you have to maintain that quintessential version of whatever it is that people have been drawn to for X, Y, and Z amount of years. If you miss that, you lose that, then you are removing the sort of soul of the item, the character, the chain, the food, whatever. People recognize, people get irritated, and there's simply no need. There is no modern audience, right? As we have very plainly established in the movie space and the video game space. The modern audience doesn't exist because people tend to be quite samey in what they like and appreciate throughout generations. And Cracker Barrel has stood the test of time for a reason. So, as he says, keep it country.